Jehovah's Witnesses are a religious group that many people are unfamiliar with. We may remember them as the folks who frequently visited many people's houses to evangelize. But do we really know what they believe? Well, maybe it's time to find out what they really are and what they really do in this video today. As you guys know, we discuss different cults in detail on this channel. This time, it's the Jehovah's Witness religious group. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Jehovah's Witnesses is an international religious organization founded by preacher Charles Russell in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania, USA in the 1870s. Its original name was the Bible Student Movement, but the current name Jehovah's Witnesses was adopted in 1931. Many religious experts consider the group to be a sect. Although Jehovah's Witnesses use Christian terminology, they position themselves as a newly founded religious group. Jehovah's Witnesses reject most Christian dogmas, such as the creation of the world, inherent immortality of the soul, and Trinitarianism. They recognize the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And how can these witnesses be differentiated? Jehovah's Witnesses do not smoke, drink substances, or use narcotics. They oppose divorce, resist political institutions and civic duties, refuse to serve in the military, and prohibit blood transfusions. Each devotee is expected to unconditionally obey the organization's wishes and objectives. Nobody is allowed to depart on their own accord. The movement expects its members to be antagonistic to people who do not accept its teachings. For this reason, Jehovah's Witnesses are frequently accused of fostering religious hostility. And what about their activities and structure? The primary activity of Jehovah's Witnesses is door-to-door preaching and trading in printed items. In the United States, they can appear on radio and television. The movement uses a variety of legal institutions to achieve its goals, the oldest and most well-known of which is the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. The movement's administrative structure is multi-tiered with a governing board of 10 to 15 seats at the top. As a rule, all board members are appointed for life. Jehovah's Witnesses have branches all over the world with an active membership of around 8 million. Jehovah's Witnesses are banned in a number of nations, including China, North Korea, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Georgia, Tajikistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Iraq. During his tour of Europe in 1891, the movement's head, Charles Russell, paid a visit to the Black Sea port city of Odessa. Books written by Jehovah's Witnesses first appeared in Russia in the early 20th century. The initial ones were in German. The first Russian-language version of the Watchtower Society's tract went out of publication in 1911. Initially, the movement's following in Russia was small. In the 1920s, a tiny colony of Jehovah's Witnesses lived in Kharkov, Ukraine. Preacher George Young was sent from the United States to assist in its growth. In 1927, he received authorization from Soviet officials to produce 15,000 copies of booklets describing the movement's main ideas. At that time, the local chapter had only a few hundred members. The Soviet Union saw a quick upsurge in the number of Jehovah's Witnesses in 1939 and 1940 after the Soviet Union incorporated Western Ukraine, Northern Bukovina, and also the Baltics, where Jehovah's Witnesses had created a number of large communities in the 1920s and 1930s. The organization reported 4,797 active members in the Soviet Union in 1946. But if we talk about the leader himself, then we'll come to know who he really was. Russell was born in 1852 of Scottish and Irish descent. He became an earnest worker in the Congregational Church. At the age of 17, he tried to convert an atheist but lost his own faith. He had been obsessed by the thought of the horror of hell. Even as an atheist, he could not leave the Bible alone. Aged 20, he began preaching the good news with no hell. He assumed the title of Pastor Russell in 1879 when he was founding his new religion. When shown a Greek New Testament, he was obliged to declare that he did not even know the Greek letter. He knew neither Latin nor Hebrew. He wrote about the Bible, but every recognized scripture scholar in the world's universities will agree that Russell's explanation are, for the most part, diametrically opposed to the evident sense of the Bible's teachings. Russell was never a scholar in the conventional sense of the term, And what's even more interesting here is that Russell did not live a saintly life, as one might anticipate of the founder of a religious cult. But what do they think about the churches? The witnesses don't have time for Christian churches. Russell said that in 1879 God rejected all existing churches and appointed the Russellites as the sole spokespersons from that point forward. Rutherford went further. He refused to recognize that the churches were in good condition until Russell arrived. He said that following Christ's resurrection, the devil established a vast dominion known as the Pope. Later, he spurred the formation of Protestant churches. As a result, all Catholic priests and Protestant pastors are devil worshippers, enemies of God, and antichrist. The witnesses deny that they are a church or a denomination. There is no justification, they say in the Bible, for a church or a hierarchy. The Roman Catholic Church, the Church of England, and the free churches are the constant butt of abuse in publications of the witnesses, who deny most fundamental Christian doctrines. Some individuals believe the witnesses are pacifists like the Quakers. They're not. The fact is that they worship a vindictive God who has planned the worst war in history, known as the Armageddon. They appear to take pleasure in the accurate depictions of the fate of the wicked who are killed for siding with Satan's armies. Witnesses have no objections to bloodshed in such a conflict, but they refuse to get involved in Satan's nation's minor squabbles. But how do they keep people within this religious organization, and what happens if someone leaves it? A system of judicial committees maintains discipline within congregations, with the authority to dismiss members who violate the denomination's norms and demand their exclusion from other witnesses. The prospect of shunning also discourages members from engaging in dissident activity. But once a member leaves the group, then things change for them very drastically. The process is known as shunning, which has a deep impact on the former members of the group. The current members cannot have any sort of communication or relation with those who have left the religion. Once a person leaves the JW religion, they are relegated to the status of an outsider. People who do not practice the faith are considered selfish, nasty, manipulative, and fake. Even when members and former members communicated, it was made clear to participants that additional communication, attention, or attempts to reconnect would be granted only if the participants returned to the religion. The culture of informing on other members leads to distrusting other members of society and the world for years to come. Participants overwhelmingly reported a lack of trust in people, organizations, the news, and institutions. Several participants linked their distrust directly to the culture of the JW. They expressed the need to suppress their own thoughts, ideas, and doubts about the religion to maintain relationships with their parents, siblings, and children. A recurrent complaint among participants was a lack of financial support following their departure from JW. Participants said that saving for the future or obtaining material gains in this world is considered heresy, since it implies that they do not believe Armageddon will arrive. The culture of the JW religion discourages further education, comparing it to the devil. Members are also discouraged from seeking promotions or better work possibilities owing to their belief that the end of the world is imminent. Creating support services for former members of highly controlled organizations, such as basic financial training and awareness of manipulative tactics utilized by such groups, would considerably improve their life and maybe prevent future familicides. Let us know what are your thoughts on it in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this video, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.